The Army of 2030 will consist of modernized formations, strategically positioned, able to leverage national-level capabilities, and tailorable at all echelons. This force will be capable of conducting multi-domain operations, or MDO, in multiple theaters, simultaneously and at all echelons. The Theater Army is the senior Army echelon responsible for providing the geographic combatant commander with multi-domain capabilities and support in the form of land power. One of the major responsibilities of a theater army is to set the theater, which includes ensuring calibrated force posture and convergence at echelon. This convergence is integrated and synchronized by the enhanced Theater Army Main and Contingency Command posts, future operations and current operations integration cells, and the new G39 Information Advantage section, which will be mirrored at corps and division levels. The Theater Army is supported by enabling commands and formations like the Security Force Assistant Brigade, which develops and maintains access during security cooperation with partners and allies to support unified action. The Theater Army employs multi-domain capabilities such as Multi-Domain Task Force, Theater Fires Command, Theater Information Advantage Element, and Theater Strike Effects Group. The Multi-Domain Task Force is capable of delivering both Army and joint fires and effects across all domains to penetrate and defeat enemy A2AD systems and to open windows of opportunity for exploitation by maneuver forces. The Theater Fires Command will be the Army's senior fires headquarters that is capable of converging lethal and non-lethal fires to support multiple Army Corps and the Joint Force. The Theater and Information Advantage Element will provide enhanced non-lethal capabilities able to conduct information warfare, protect friendly information, and inform and influence activities. This element will accomplish these activities through forward-postured, persistently engaged, and multifunctional capabilities at echelon. The Theater Strikes Effect Group will be capable of providing the full range of Army space and high-altitude capabilities, including space control operations, space planning teams, multifunctional high-altitude platforms, and satellite operations. Throughout competition and armed conflict, the Theater Army supports large-scale combat operations by providing Army support to other services, a key element to sustaining joint and Army forces as they seek to penetrate, disintegrate, exploit, and recompete. The Theater Army supports combatant commanders in all theaters through the employment of Army and joint multi-domain capabilities at echelons, corps, and below. The Corps is the most versatile echelon, operating at both the tactical and operational levels of warfare. In its tactical role, the Corps maneuvers divisions and other combat formations to project combat power in depth and achieve convergence of effects against peer threats. Leveraging its future multi-domain capabilities, the Corps employs the new Operational Fires Command, which serves to integrate Army, joint, and multinational fires to synchronize lethal and non-lethal effects, creating convergence opportunities for its subordinate divisions. The Corps headquarters is uniquely positioned to access and integrate joint and national capabilities from multiple domains. This creates and exploits positions of relative advantage to defeat enemy forces and consolidate gains during competition, crisis, and conflict. Corps and divisions are task organized with an assortment of multifunctional and functional brigades to support their operations. These brigades add capabilities such as attack and reconnaissance aviation, fires, contracting support, and sustainment. Perhaps the most significant change for Army 2030 is the designation of the division as the tactical unit of action around which decisive maneuver is planned. The character of large-scale combat operations drives the need for greater concentrations of combat power. Army 2030 divisions are able to meet this requirement through the consolidation of critical enablers and capabilities at the division echelon. This change allows divisions, supported by Corps, to effectively shape current and future environments, while also appropriately weighting the main effort maneuver brigades to achieve decisive overmatch. Army 2030 positively impacts other aspects across the .mil-PFP spectrum, including doctrine, materiel, and leader development. Through Army 2030, future division commanders can more effectively train their units due to the habitually aligned capabilities that foster well-defined combat techniques, tactics, and procedures. Army 2030 transitions division from a single, modular headquarters to 5 purpose-built designs, while providing landing spots for emerging modernized materiel solutions. Army 2030 divisions include the Joint Forcible Entry divisions with airborne and assault variants, the Standard Heavy Division, the Standard Light Division, and the Penetration Division. The Joint Forcible Entry Division, airborne, provides the joint force with motorized forces capable of worldwide strategic deployment. The Joint Forcible Entry Division, air assault, is an operationally and strategically mobile force that dominates complex terrain and conducts operational maneuver. The Standard Heavy and Standard Light Divisions provide task-organized, MDO-ready forces to combatant commanders worldwide. The Penetration Division represents the sum of the Army's thinking about large-scale combat operations. The Penetration Division is an armored formation wielding fire, maneuver, and shock effect to conduct the joint forces' most demanding operations, the breaching of prepared enemy defenses, and the execution of contested river crossings. One way to understand how the Penetration Division integrates multi-domain capabilities into combined arms operations is during a wet gap crossing. In the initial phase, the Corps shapes the deep fight, leveraging the Operational Fires Command with access to theater, joint, as well as national-level cyber and space assets to target specific enemy capabilities. The Corps' new G39 section integrates cyber and space assets from echelons Corps and above to synchronize kinetic and non-kinetic effects, including military deception to create tactical windows of opportunity. From a position of relative advantage, the Penetration Division's new Intelligence and Electronic Warfare Battalion employs its deep sensing capabilities to better see and understand enemy dispositions in and around the wet gap crossing. The Penetration Division Artillery Brigade, consisting of 3 organic battalions and an extended range cannon artillery battalion, engages deep targets with a combination of cannon and rocket fires. Division and Joint Aviation, including both fixed and rotary wing, support deep operations through reconnaissance and deliberate attacks. Simultaneously, the redesigned Division's Cavalry Squadron conducts zone reconnaissance to inform the division commander's priority intelligence requirements for the wet gap crossing operation. With conditions set, the division commander orders the assault across the river. Critical to the success of the wet gap crossing is the massing of overwhelming lethal fires. The Division Artillery Brigade provides direct support to the wet gap crossing, while the Corps provides reinforcing fires to provide suppression, obscuration, counterfire, and sustained deep fires. The Penetration Division's redesigned Engineer Brigade, equipped with multi-role bridging companies, conducts mobility and counter-mobility missions, emplacing bridges to enable the wet gap crossing operation. Once in place, the division's armored brigade combat teams cross and seize far-side objectives and expand ground and air reconnaissance. Protecting the division's rear area during the attack is the new Division Protection Brigade, an evolution of the current Maneuver Enhancement Brigade. It provides critical protection to division assets as assigned, which could include air defense artillery and supply routes across the battlefield. The U.S. Army in 2030 will be a key part of the joint interagency, and coalition team by providing a multi-domain capable force. This will represent a major change in how the Army is structured to meet the challenges presented by great power competitors across multiple theaters, in and through multiple domains, and throughout the competition continuum. Commanders at all echelons will sense, understand, decide, and act faster by converging multi-domain capabilities to achieve simultaneous, sequential, and enduring effects during large-scale combat operations, leading ultimately to the defeat of our adversaries. Army 2030 meets the Army's modernization requirements for a multi-domain capable force and sets conditions for a multi-domain ready force by 2040 and beyond.